Hi guys.
Hey guys.
Today we're hanging out with Dai and my buddy Cole Powelson. He actually created these things called Sierra cars.
Sierra cars.
Yeah, and we're driving them today.
Yep.
Have you driven them before?
No, I haven't. I've been seeing it, but never had a chance. So today's the day for both of us, right?
Yeah, so the idea is that this is like the cheapest and most efficient way to kind of get into open wheel, off-road, rallycross kind of racing.
Or
right?
you can do it on the pavement too.
Yeah. So Cole, he's right there. Hi, Cole. We're gonna talk to him in a little bit, but we actually watched him race a version of this up Pikes Peak.
Yep.
And he went very, very fast. Yeah. Actually, when I watch that video, it scares me.
Oh yeah. Oh, I need to watch that.
It's pretty insane. So you drove it a little bit. What do you think so far?
It was super fun, but actually really easy to control. Maybe I'm not driving that fast, but still feels really fast and still very predictable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I actually had a chance to drive one before at Grid Life.
Oh, okay.
Just briefly though, and it was kind of a fun little autocross time attack thing that was like mostly on dirt, and I think it was all on dirt. But it was a lot of fun, and I tried to drive as clean as possible. But that was before I had any drift experience.
Oh yeah,
right?
Now
so
you have
now I've been drifting. I kind of know how to toss around a car. I'm kind of curious to see if it'll make a difference getting into a Sierra car.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I think it'll make big difference because now you know how to weight transport and stuff, and that'll really, I think that's the way to drive this car. Weight transport. Use the rear wheel to steer the car. So you'll do well.
I haven't seen you that often since Formula Drift. I've seen you around at like SEMA show. And
yeah.
Did you go to PRI?
I did actually.
Yeah. So I saw you at PRI. Yeah. But what else have you been up to recently?
I was just chilling at home most of the time. But I went to KOH last week.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
we were at King of the Hammers. This was your first time at King of the Hammers. What did you think about it?
That was actually my second time.
Oh, second time. Okay.
It was amazing. Especially went to Chocolate Thunder at night.
Yeah.
It was like the movie, right?
It's a different kind of culture. It's something
totally.
that doesn't exist in Japan, right?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more like a culture thing. I mean, I enjoy the car part, seeing the race and all that stuff, but it's more like the hanging out with the people. That many people in one time, so many lights, so many like fireworks, and having some drinks here and there.
Yeah,
it was great.
But I'm actually curious to jump in and drive this. I actually want to get some shots of you driving these.
Cool, that'd be great.
I think that would be kind of cool.
Yeah. What's up, people? I'm actually using Larry Chen's camera and try to capture his driving this time. So hopefully I don't get super dusty, but most likely I'll get super dusty. But we'll see how he can drive. Get the nice one.
You're gonna go for a couple laps.
All right. Damn, Larry! Oh.
You know what was interesting about this is I've been photographing you for 17 years.
Yep.
And this is the first time you ever videoed me.
Yes, I did.
How funny is that?
I know, and you got me a dust all over my face.
Nice! Nice! The tables have turned.
Well, well, well. How the turntables.
Amazing. After all this time. So cool.
Yeah, now I appreciate what you've done for me. I know it wasn't the dirt, but a lot of tire smoke I put your face, I think.
I probably inhaled like 3 or 4 Falcon tires, full tires because of this guy.
You like it?
I love it. This is so cool.
A little different.
I mean, you know, of course that was great. This is even better.
Yeah.
It's so much like nicer, smoother. Wow.
The power steering, the suspension travel.
Yeah. Holy
Did you notice the shifter on this one's a lot more direct?
yeah, it feels more like a legit.
Yeah.
That one sometimes I don't know if it's in the gear or not, but this one is like definitely I can feel it.
But also another thing is you don't get tired in this thing.
Right.
I could have kept going. This
other one I was out of breath, dude.
Cardio just to drive.
that one's like wrestling a bear, and this one you're just kind of guiding a missile.
Yeah.
It's a good trainer right there.
Yeah.
Man, this one's great. This is a great upgrade.
Yeah,
you've done.
thanks, man.
Thank you so much for letting me drive.
Absolutely.
This is your personal vehicle, I know.
Yep. No worries, man. It's an honor.
I had a great time.
Ready for your close-up, Mr. Cole Powelson?
Make me pretty, Larry.
That's a good way to start it. What's up, guys? Larry Chen here. We are out in the desert in the middle of nowhere. There is a very awesome rally course here, and we had a chance to shred it today.
We did.
What a fun time.
Wasn't bad, was it?
You know, the thing I'm surprised about, I've been following Cole for many years now. I have so many, probably thousands of photos of this man driving, being an absolute insane wheelman. I'm surprised the first video that I'm doing on your vehicles or things that you're doing is not your R35 because, as you know, I'm a big Skyline guy. But we're actually talking about your Sierra carts. This is like your baby. This is your project.
Yeah, this is built from scratch at Lyfe Motorsport at the shop. So we got a bunch of talented dudes there, and we build great race cars. And I wanted something that was affordable to operate, but still gave that like crazy level of excitement. I'm very fortunate I get to drive a lot of high-end cars, but they take tons of money to operate and feel that feeling. So Sierra was born because I wanted other people to feel what I feel. Like it shouldn't be just only me, you know, and a select few of other drivers that get to feel that sensation. So Sierra was meant to provide drivers with that high level of racing experience without a high level of cost.
Yeah, so in its most basic form, in essence, it's an open wheel, off-road, on-road, single seat race car.
Yep.
Right?
That's it. Sport bike engine powered, so it's a Suzuki Hayabusa engine, so 1300 cc's, 6-speed sequential, and it's single seat because it's driver focused. It's all about the driving experience, and of course that translates onto the track, having a lightweight, more purpose-built vehicle. So having the open wheel suspension, we can have low ride heights like a Pikes Peak car, you know, we've got big slicks on it, it's low to the ground, and then out here in the desert, we're able to get good wheel travel, put on gravel rally tires, and be able to shred these different surfaces. So it's versatile enough, you know, it's not Formula One car low on the circuit, and it's not trophy truck level suspension travel in the desert, but it's a great compromise between those two disciplines.
There's really nothing else like this vehicle, right? I mean, what is the next level up? What is the next step up in terms of open wheel attainability, or even if you just got like an older, a Formula 3 car or like a Formula Atlantic car?
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine the price point would just be 3, 4, 5 times the amount, even just for the cheapest one, right?
You're totally correct. So I had the opportunity to drive a number of different open wheel cars, Formula Mazda, Formula Atlantics, even an old Indy car. And they're fantastic, but they're so one-dimensional. It can only do this one thing. The smoother the surface, the better. And I grew up in Utah, and so off-road and desert stuff was just second nature. So I wanted a car that I could go do like stage rally stuff with and drive in the desert and even go to the sand dunes, so we put paddle tires on them too. But I'm an asphalt racer by trade. That's what I do. And so I also wanted something that can go and turn those sort of lap times. So this does GT3 RS lap times on an asphalt circuit. You don't see any GT3s out here. It's the same car. We just swap the wheels and tires, and then we can rip like a rally course.
Yeah, so Hayabusa 1300 cc. How much horsepower is this making?
This is 200 horsepower.
And you feel every single bit of that in your butt when you floor it in this thing. So you mentioned Pikes Peak. There's a couple videos that when I watch it, you know, my palms get sweaty just seeing you, or another example, a good example is Travis Pastrana at Mount Washington. Yeah. I watch that video and it makes my palms sweaty. I watch your video.
Yeah.
Under 10 minutes, right?
Yeah.
A 9-minute lap. 9 minute, what is it? 50?
9:37.
Or 9:37?
Yeah, I went deep, man.
Yeah, you went really deep.
I was so surprised when they told me what my time was, because all I wanted was 9:59. Like,
so 9:37, in a variation of this, it was a little more hopped up. It's turbo.
Yep.
Right? A little more cooling for the altitude. Probably a little more aero too, right?
Yep, yep.
But in essence, it's the same structure. It's the same thing.
Same chassis, same suspension, same brakes. Like it's lower to the ground. We put side pods on, so we have a place to put a fuel cell and a larger radiator, and then it's turbocharged. We put the intercooler where the radiator normally goes. But it was a rallycross car that we, you know, just modified for a little bit more dedicated asphalt surface.
Which, by the way, I love that one of the first things you said is that I never have to come back to Pikes Peak ever again, because you broke what you wanted to do. You wanted to get under 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And it gets harder and harder every year. The asphalt's getting worse and worse.
Yeah.
And you know, when I watch the video of you driving your car up that fateful run, I cannot believe how much you're cutting the course and using every bit of the road to your advantage. And rightfully so, because this is designed for that kind of duty, right? It is shorter, or it is narrower and shorter, so it hugs the corners a lot better.
The course gets wider.
Yeah, the course gets wider.
Because the car is smaller, we've got more surface to work with. So I think it's a pretty good fit for that surface. Pikes Peak is what got me into cars. Like, it was Gran Turismo. And when you pull up the original Gran Turismo, there's a map of the tracks around the world. And I just chose the closest track to my house. It was like, I didn't plan on, you know, Pikes Peak chose me. It was just geographically the closest place. And I drove it, and it was rally, and I was like, I just absolutely fell in love with the place. And it ruined my life, because all I did was car stuff and focus on, like, how do I get to Pikes Peak? How do I put myself in the driver's seat? And at the time, I think it was Rod Millen was, you know, knocking on the, you know, door of going sub 10 minutes back when there was dirt. And then you had Monster Tajima, who was just killing it, throwing it down. I think he was the first sub 10 guy to do it. So I just became obsessed with that number. And it's even cooler that I got to do it in a car that we hand built from scratch in our own shop. So that really resonates with me. It's really special. But when I said it then, I never have to do Pikes Peak again. I never have to face that pressure, you know, I don't have to prove anything to myself. I'm so excited to go back this year because it's going to be casual. I'm really looking forward to just battling it out with some of my homies up there. but it was a big deal at the time to do that. And so when I'm cutting corners and hanging it out by the edge, it's because I wanted it that bad. I needed it. Needed to prove it to myself, to prove it to the team, and showcase what a good job they did building the car.
And a 937 would have won overall just not too long ago, too, right? Which is, it's just so crazy to think. But let's kind of dig into it. You have two out here. You have, this is the latest and greatest with all the new bells and whistles. And this is a version 1?
An updated version of version 1. So this is a 2019 prototype that we've upfitted to, it has 2021 suspension, some other pieces. Big changes on the two cars are, that one has power steering, that one has a gear drive system, so there's no chain, no sprockets. It's got 4 inches longer in the chassis. It got a little bit better cooling system, more suspension travel, better sway bars. So there's all the things that we learned on the first 6 prototypes. We ran in a ton of different configurations from desert to asphalt to Pikes Peak. All of that got wrapped into our 2021 production car. So you've got adjustable motion ratio with the shock in here. So we got different travel levels.
It's a giant RC car.
It is. Oh, it's so tunable.
Yeah.
So you see all the different pickup points.
Okay, so a couple things. Let's just talk about prices. I know it varies depending on the options, but just base price for this versus that.
So we don't even offer this car anymore because the chain drive is a pain. You saw me today. I was always lubricating the chain, keeping an eye on it. After 2 days of running hard like this, we got to go and put a chain on it. So we don't no longer offer the Hayabusa with the chain drive. It's all the gear drive now. So new RX-3 is 68 grand for a fully loaded car. And this one you see over there, that's got a street legal kit on it, so lights, blinkers, horns, that sort of stuff. And so that's a little bit more, but that's pretty much the only option that it has because it comes fully loaded.
Because the owner actually drives this around in Utah because these sort of vehicles are legal, street legal in Utah, not for like freeway use, but for just regular street use.
Oh, you can put them on the freeway.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, you can.
If you register it as a kit car. Some people choose to register an off-road vehicle or a UTV. It falls into different categories because it's a kit car, so you can build your kit car to meet whatever needs. And so, there's different state laws and county laws, and so you just got to jump through whatever hoops you want to. And I've ripped that car on the freeway.
That's awesome.
The worst part is trying to go slow, because every time I get one of these, it's race car mode.
Yeah.
And so driving that on the street is just painful because I want to rip handbrake U-turns and shred, but you can't.
It's interesting because all my life I love driving fast. I love driving fast cars, and I love to drive slow cars fast.
Yeah.
But everything that I've driven up until this point has been it's meant for transportation, right? Yeah. Not meant for going fast. Going fast is a side quest, I guess. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I mean, even the most sporty cars, there's a reason for it to be a car. You're still getting somewhere. It's still a method of transportation, even though maybe it may not be a very good one. This is the most bare bones essence of race car, and it just gives you all of it. It gives you the feeling like first thing I noticed when I locked the brakes, I could watch the tires just start to slow down and then eventually lock. And I know I went too far in terms of threshold braking, and I've never been able to experience that in my life. It's so weird.
It's phenomenal experience, and it's that blend of the open wheel like race car with more off-road capabilities. And it's when we started the design, we started with the driver's seat, because this is a driver-centric car. So it's not like, oh, where do we put the groceries? We need this spare tire. Like, oh, I hope the airbags fit in this area. It was, we're going to start based around the driver and build the car around that. So the Gen 1 chassis is a little bit smaller. It's 4 inches shorter, and because we didn't want to make it too big. But we found, some of our larger customers and big tall guys had a harder time getting in the car, so we stretched it just the minimum amount that we had to keep it really lightweight and driver-focused.
So, yeah, what you're talking about, the transmission, this one doesn't have reverse. This one has reverse. It is a sequential sedav. right?
The first through sixth gear is the regular Hayabusa,
Oh, okay.
first through sixth gear, and then it goes into what would normally drive the sprocket, and that's all gear drive to the rear end. And so we have a gear transfer system that has adjustable gear ratio, adjustable limited slip diff, quick change gears, alternator pulley, internal gear pump with oil cooler, and super important, reverse. So motorcycles don't have reverse.
Yeah.
So being able to have reverse is a really nice thing, especially when you're doing the street registration.
Right, like the sway bars, all of this stuff. So cool, so good looking, but also all functional.
Totally. Yeah, we didn't want anything that you didn't need. We didn't want to add to it because it just takes away from the experience. So, you know, if you want to put a snowboard on the roof or a bike rack, just get some suction cups and put it on. But it's meant to be a really functional piece.
So it also really amazed me. You know, we were beating on it for so long, so many laps, lap after lap. Temps didn't go up either. This is really well designed. It seems like it just pulls hot air out this way.
Yep, so we've got the side scoops behind the driver's head that funnel fresh air in behind the radiator, and so that naturally does a good job of helping cool. And then when temps get hot when you're running hard, the fan kicks on automatically and takes care of the cooling system. We have a water oil heat exchanger in the side as well. So we've got the oil cooler that works really well, and this didn't just happen. This is, you know, 4 years of development and testing stuff for this car to turn out as well as it has. So the Gen 1 car kind of sucked, you know, just as far as like we did have cooling issues and the fuel pump issues and all these little headaches that we had. The front suspension, it took 8 design iterations to come up with something that had good angle, good suspension travel, good camber gain characteristics, good roll center, and something that was strong enough and lightweight that could do the asphalt and the off-road. So this thing didn't just happen overnight. It took a ton of time to get it to do all of these things. It's one thing to just strap a motorcycle engine in a tube chassis and go rip around your neighborhood. We wanted much more than that, and that's ultimately what the car we have here today is.
Yeah, it also definitely reminds me of an Ariel Atom too.
You ever drive an Ariel Atom?
I've never.
It's the biggest disappointment of any car I've ever driven.
Really?
Awful.
Wow.
Jeremy Clarkson sold me, man. I thought that was going to be the greatest car ever. Finally had an opportunity to drive one. I was coaching a guy and I drove it, and it was not good at all. Like the driver ergonomics wasn't right, the twitchiness at the limit wasn't good, it was like the brakes weren't good. It was seriously one of the biggest letdowns ever. So as a driver, my driver experience was very poor with that car, but you know, on paper it should be perfect. The other one that let me down is the Noble.
Well, your what you have to say about these cars and your experience, it has a lot of weight, you know.
Now.
Yeah.
Now, because I've done something.
Right.
But when I first started this project, I didn't have a lot of street cred, you know. But I felt like I was good at setting up cars and could figure it out if I had enough time. Now we have race results to back it up. It's the result at Pikes Peak. You know, I'm the second fastest person to Travis Pastrana at Mount Washington ever, which is something I never thought I could ever say. So the fastest two-wheel drive car to ever run Mount Washington, and so we have some real substance to what we've been able to do with the car, and it's great that it looks dope, but you know, we actually have race results to back it up, and that's, you know, the proof is in the pudding. You actually have to go out and race it to get those results.
Yes, when you say the Ariel Atom is super twitchy and hard to drive, this is the complete opposite of that. This is so easy to drive. Even with that one not having power steering, it was so easy to slide around, controlled slides, very easy. Although that one is the raw version of this. Like, that is super raw, and while I've had enough laps to kind of feel comfortable driving around, that is still hard. It's really hard to push it hard versus this having power steering. The transmission's amazing, the suspension is so much better, and it's just so easy to place the car where you want it. It is a completely different experience, and it's so awesome to be able to try this.
I'm so glad you had the opportunity, because you look at the two cars and you wouldn't even like be able to spot a couple differences, but the driving characteristics couldn't be more different.
So what about, I have a question, what about the rear end? This was super easy to slide around, but I noticed it's not like locked or anything, right?
Right, so this is that SATAV geared transfer system. So we have a limited slip diff in here, the reverse actuators there, and the drop gears, the quick change ratios are on the other side. So having a true limited slip makes the asphalt characteristics just go through the roof, because that car is a spool. And it's great when you're sliding or in a slip angle, it's very consistent, but it doesn't, it creates understeer because it's fully locked, and so you start doing weird things to the suspension to try to make that handle right. So this is the purest way to reduce like odd handling characteristics by having a true limited slip diff. But the second you're on the power, it's locked up. It's really still very controllable in the slide, but on your transitional periods when your throttle input and out, having the limited slip just makes it so much more friendly.
Very cool. And how much fuel does this thing carry?
Like 4.8 gallons. Yeah, a little over 4.5 gallons.
And it runs 91?
Yep. Yeah, we can get silly with it, you know, and do race gas and stuff like that, but I like the simplicity of it. You know, Suzuki did a really good job. You know, so I don't think we can outdo them, but we do our own custom wiring harness, but we run a stock ECU on any of the cars that we can. And it just works in all conditions. You know, we run these cars at Pikes Peak, and it's a car that you can go over and at 14,000 feet, turn the key and fire it right up on a stock ECU. And that's because Suzuki did such a good job to begin with. So we do build our own harnesses, and it's a real mil-spec proper harness. And that takes out a lot of the pain.
So how much does this one weigh?
This is 1,100 pounds. Just over 1,100.
200 horsepower, 1,100 pounds.
Yeah, buddy.
Wow. That's why it kicks you in the butt.
Yeah, well, it's like
gas.
on the dirt, it's hard to even use all the power because you just induce more wheel spin. But in like a rallycross setting where you've got dirt transitioning to asphalt, when you hit the asphalt, it's like somebody put a rocket booster on it because you can finally use all that power and turn it into grip and acceleration. And that's where these things really shine, is when you get a little bit harder packed surface, or even in the sand dunes when you have a big paddle tire, they absolutely boogie in the sand because you can adjust the paddles for the amount of grip and actually use the power.
Well, thanks for showing this to us, and also thanks for letting me shred in them. That was a lot of fun. Hopefully we get to drive these more in different conditions, and hopefully I get to see you drive a little more. Well, we will see you drive this year at Pikes Peak.
Yeah, buddy, I'm there.
But with no pressure at all, just enjoying it.
Dude, I'm so excited for this year. Like, the other years have been work, but I get to go race with a couple of my homies that are also in diesel-powered cars, and so it's going to be a really good year. It's the 100th running. How special is that? It's going to be a great year.
Awesome.